Good morning, everybody. To my 33 subscribers and anybody else who watches this video. This watch says that it's 1:44 in the morning. This watch says that it is 1:34 in the morning. This watch says it's 1:37 in the morning. Okay, this video is going to be about all what I think is the spiritual stuff that has happened to me over the years since I was like a Christian or somebody who believes in God. And I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. I'm forgetful. Okay, so I started in North Carolina whenever I was married to my ex, Dave Cunningham. We lived in North Carolina, and so I started in North Carolina because that's whenever the spiritual stuff, I thought that's whenever it started happening to me. So, okay, so I wrote it down. Okay, so it's North Carolina. Okay. So it says, when Susan and the others prayed for me, I felt a warm sensation all over my body. I was holding my dog Precious in the front yard of the trailer park. They went out reaching Susan, and I forgot who else was there. There was I forgot how many people were there, but I just remember Susan for some reason. And they asked me if I wanted to say the sinner's prayer, and so I was like, no, I'll say the sinner's prayer. So I knelt down outside in the yard, and they prayed for me, and whenever they prayed for me, I felt a warm sensation. Okay, so next thing. Okay, so then one night, or one day, Dave and I were sleeping in bed, and I stood up in bed while still asleep and grabbed for the light on the ceiling. And he said my name, and I dropped down back in bed. I just flopped back down in bed. And he told me later that day or something, he was like, "Do you know that you did that?" Okay, so did that in my sleep. Okay. And this says Thompsonville. I have really funny handwriting, and it says Thompsonville there. So that's Thompsonville, Illinois. I have no idea if there's any other Thompsonville in the whole world. Okay, so while at the house in Thompsonville, Dave's parents' house, where he grew up, Dave's dad, Mickey, Dave's mom, Peggy, Dave's grandpa, John, Dave's Aunt Barb, and Dave and I were all standing around the table praying, and all of a sudden I started praying louder and then speaking in tongues. As I was doing that, there was a tingling that went up my whole arm that I had lifted up. I felt the tingling for a long while after that. And then Dave's grandpa, John, gave the interpretation to the speaking in tongues, and it was something for his Aunt Barb. Okay. So, okay. And then we went outside, and we went out in the backyard, and I was still feeling the tingling in my arm. I think it was in this one. I was all the way through my arm. Okay, so the next thing, the Hannah house. I would feel like a presence, like someone was standing next to me. Okay, next thing, the dream I had with the black shadows shadowy things coming out of the walls. Yeah, I had a dream. I was pregnant with AJ. I didn't know that was going to be his name at the time. And I was living upstairs in the Hannah house, and I had a dream that I woke up and I was walking down the stairs, and as I was walking down the stairs, these black shadowy things started coming out of the walls. And then something to have to do with Paula, and I forgot. But anyway, I was so scared that I remember that dream scared me so much that I didn't want to go back to sleep, and I wanted to talk to Lakeisha. And I was like, I am not going to go back to sleep until Lakeisha gets her. Well, they couldn't get Lakeisha to the house until in the morning. And I just remember being so scared, and I didn't want to go back to sleep. So that was the first thing that happened to me that was like scary. Okay, then the next thing, the dream I had about Steve, he was standing talking to me. He was covered in oil. He gave me a book he was writing, and I hadn't got to that part yet. I hadn't got to the part where he was covered in oil. The next day, I was sitting at the table reading Steve's book, and there was a part in it before he went on his walk across the United States as Jesus. He was prayed for and anointed with oil. I told Cassie, she was one of the workers there. Yeah, I had a dream that Steve was covered in oil. I hadn't got to that part in the book, and he was covered in oil, and he was talking to me, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. And I hadn't read that part in the book. And then I got to that part in the book, and I was like, did you know this? I was like telling Cassie, I was like, okay. So, the next thing, okay, Dogwood Manor. Oh, Steve's my ex-husband. Okay, so Dogwood Manor, whenever we were living in Dogwood Manor, I was laying in bed in the other room. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. I was laying in the bed in the other room. The bed was next to the window. And I can't remember if I was awake or asleep. Or maybe a little of both. But as I was laying there, for some reason, I reached up and touched the window and I heard, "The Holy Spirit is in the wind." Okay. The next thing, let's see. What does it say? I eventually forgot because when I reread, whenever I reread part of Acts, I read Acts 2:2. In Acts 2:2, it talks about the Holy Spirit and the wind. Okay, the apartment I live in now, I've seen black shadowy things. I felt presences in the kitchen, in the bathroom. I was standing in the kitchen in between the fridge and the microwave, and I smelt my Grandpa Paxton. You know, sometimes people have like certain smells and stuff, and like you remember a smell from like a long time ago or something. Like, you know, well, I saw my Grandpa Paxton. Okay, I've seen blue dots. I've heard voices. I heard another voice, but not as audible. Oh, Yeah, one night or day, I forgot. I didn't hear it like at the audible voice that I heard whenever it said listen and whenever it said my name. And I woke up and I didn't see anybody. Like, I have no idea how to describe it. It was like, oh, it was like a, I won't say like a cry, but it was like a, how do I explain this? And I thought that it might be in the movie Date with an Angel. Like, it sounded like her voice in A Date with an Angel. That's what I heard. It was like a, I have no idea like how to do it. But like, it wasn't audible, but like, I heard it one night or one day. I have no idea how to explain it. Okay, and stuff has fallen off the counters. I think that that's the only thing that I can remember that spiritually that has happened to me. That I can remember. Well, besides the shaking in the bed whenever I was laying in bed. I felt like the bed was shaking. Okay. That's all. Thank you for watching.